This video is on question 23 of the 2012 TSA, and here we're asked which option best illustrates the principle underlying the argument. And this is the passage that we're given. So we're first told that there's a trend in discussions about climate to devalue individual solutions because each one by itself isn't going to solve the climate crisis. The author says there will never be any single solution to climate change, and that when there's no single solution to a problem, efforts to improve the situation shouldn't be dismissed because they don't fully work. And finally, we should promote any climate initiative that will have a positive effect, however small this effect may be. So that's the passage we're given. Now remember, we're looking for a principle, and you might be able to see a principle being applied in this particular case, namely that which is contained in sentence 3. When there's no single solution to a problem, efforts to improve the situation shouldn't be dismissed simply because they don't fully solve the problem. So that looks like a principle. However, remember, we're looking for the principle that underlies the argument. So it's not going to be exactly the principle used in the argument, which is what sentence 3 is. But it's going to be something like sentence 3. So it's going to be something like this. Half solutions, and by this I mean solutions that don't fully solve a problem, half solutions shouldn't be dismissed simply because they're half solutions. Or half solutions shouldn't be dismissed because they're half solutions. So this looks like the principle that's being used to underlie the argument. And so let's have a look at the options and see if there's one which comes close to this. So here we have our 5 options, and here we have our principle. And remember, we're looking for the option that best illustrates the principle, not the option which matches the principle. And so the option itself isn't going to be a principle. Rather, it's going to illustrate, hopefully, this principle. So can you see an option in which this principle is being illustrated? Well, option E looks like that option. This says that curfews shouldn't be rejected on the grounds that, on their own, they won't solve the problem of antisocial behavior. And this seems to be an illustration of the principle that half solutions shouldn't be dismissed because they're half solutions, with the half solution here being the curfew and the problem that's being addressed being antisocial behavior. So E seems to be the option that best illustrates the principle underlying the argument. But let's just check the other options just in case. A says that schools should revert to traditional teaching methods to do with reading, as the new methods haven't led to a raise in standards. Now, in option A, there's no talk of half solutions or a half solution, i.e. a solution that doesn't fully solve a problem, and so A is clearly irrelevant. What about option B? This says that scientists, rather than governments, should be responsible for finding solutions to problems with the environment. Now, B is about who is coming up with the solutions, rather than the solutions themselves, whereas our principle is about the solutions themselves. And so B is also irrelevant. Looking now at option C, this says that world government is the only way to guarantee world peace. Now, C is talking about a full solution to a problem, the full solution being world government and the problem being lack of world peace. And so it's sort of the opposite of what our principles say. What about D? This is the last one we have to dismiss to guarantee that E is the correct answer. D says that tackling the tide of obesity demands a national campaign to increase the amount of exercise that's being done, even if this exercise damages joints. Well, D talks about the downsides of a solution, whereas our principle mentions nothing about downsides of a solution. It just mentions to what extent the solution can solve the problem. And so D contains something irrelevant. So that leaves E as the option which best illustrates the principle underlying the argument.